You're alone with your thoughts, and suddenly you're not in this room anymore. You're back in a kitchen you haven't seen in 30 years. You remember the exact color of the curtains, the sound of a voice you haven't heard in decades, and then a thought you never say out loud. Why do I keep going back there? Most people call this nostalgia. Some worry it means their mind is starting to fade, but neither of those explanations is accurate. What's actually happening has nothing to do with memory loss or sentimentality. It's a response to something that changed in your life recently. Something most people don't realize has disappeared, and you're not the only one noticing it. Here's what makes this unsettling. The memories aren't vague, they're specific. You remember the weight of a coffee cup from 40 years ago, the exact phrase someone said in 1982, the way light came through a window in a house you sold decades back. You're not wishing you could go back. You're not even sad about it. But your mind keeps returning to those scenes, over and over, like it's looking for something. And this is the part no one talks about. Most people assume this means you're stuck in the past, that you've stopped engaging with the present, that something inside you has given up on moving forward. What's actually happening is much more specific, and it has nothing to do with your personality, your mental sharpness, or your emotional health. It's structural. Something in your daily life disappeared, and your mind noticed the absence even if you didn't consciously register it. For decades, your attention was constantly pulled forward. Work deadlines, kids' schedules, bills, career goals, mortgage payments. The future wasn't something you thought about. It demanded your attention every single day. Your mind was organized around what came next. After 60, especially after retirement, that forward pull disappears. There are no quarterly reviews, no parent-teacher conferences, no promotion timelines. The entire structure that kept your focus aimed ahead is gone. So your mind doesn't move forward the way it used to. It shifts in the only other direction available, backward. This isn't nostalgia, it's not emotional retreat. It's a psychological recalibration that happens when the external scaffolding organizing your mental life suddenly vanishes. Your mind isn't failing. It's responding to a massive environmental change the only way it knows how. But here's what people get wrong about what that means. They assume thinking about the past more means you're living in it, that you've stopped growing, that you're emotionally stuck. But that completely misses what this mental process is actually doing. When the future stops pulling you forward, the past becomes one of the few stable reference points left. Your mind isn't clinging to it. It's reaching for continuity, for a coherent sense of self. It's not avoidance. It's an attempt to locate yourself when the framework you spent decades inside no longer exists. This doesn't just happen to people who are struggling. It happens to people who are fine, healthy, sharp, socially active. They still report the same mental shift. Because it's not about personal failure, it's about a change in how life is structured. You weren't told this would happen. Psychologists who study memory and life narrative have found that people in later adulthood engage in something called autobiographical reasoning far more than younger adults. This is the process of mentally reviewing your own life to extract meaning and coherence. It's not random reminiscing, it's structured mental work. Your brain is sorting through decades of experience, looking for patterns and a sense of continuity. And this intensifies after 60, not because of memory decline, but because the need for it becomes urgent. You're no longer building identity through future action, so you start building it through past reflection instead. Studies show this isn't tied to cognitive decline. It happens even when mental function stays stable. The trigger isn't neurological, it's existential. You're not losing your memory, you're using it for something different. You were raised to believe that productive people stay busy. They look forward. They focus on what's next. The cultural message is clear. Dwelling on the past means you've stopped mattering. But that message ignores something basic. When the future stops demanding your attention, backward reflection isn't laziness. It's one of the only ways left to maintain a sense of self. And when people are told this is wrong, they stop talking about it. They start feeling guilty about something completely normal. And the hardest part isn't the memories. It's what they make you wonder about yourself. You understand intellectually that it's normal to think more about the past after 60, but it still feels wrong because the belief system you internalized decades ago told you that valuable people are always moving towards something, always planning, always striving. That feeling didn't come from inside you. It came from a cultural script written long before you turned 60. A script that doesn't account for what happens when the structures organizing your life suddenly collapse. So you don't just think about the past more, you also judge yourself for it. And that judgment creates discomfort that has nothing to do with memory itself. It's guilt born from believing you should be different than you are. But engaging in this reflection doesn't mean you've stopped living in the present. It means your present is different now, and your mind is adapting in the most logical way it can. Many people experience this not as a smooth transition, but as something that arrives suddenly. One day they realize they've been replaying the same years in their head, and they wonder when it started. The answer is usually when the future stopped demanding attention, when the structure organizing your days vanished. That's when your mind starts doing something it didn't have time for before: reviewing, sorting, making sense of the full arc of what you've lived. And that takes mental energy. It shows up as increased focus on the past. There's one thing most people don't realize about this shift. It's not permanent. Many people assume once you start thinking more about the past, that's how your mind works from now on. But that's not what happens for everyone. What changes things is the introduction of new structure, not the kind imposed from outside, but the kind you build intentionally: small routines, repeated activities, low-pressure commitments that create forward rhythm without demanding achievement. When that kind of structure enters your life, the pull toward the past often softens, not because you forced yourself to stop reflecting, but because your brain has something else to organize around, something that creates continuity without requiring constant productivity. But even if that doesn't happen, even if you continue thinking about the past more than before, that's not failure. It's what humans do when life structure changes. You're making sense of it. You're orienting yourself. You're using the tools you have. The fact that you notice this shift means you're still engaged. You're adapting to a version of life no one prepared you for. Many people never say this out loud, but if this felt familiar, you're not the only one thinking about it.